if that will happen. Almost certainly not. But yeah, if there are 14 people who set up some kind of bring Steve back to the Six Music Airwaves, who knows? Again, as I say, I don't want to do a Connery. We've all seen what happened to his career after he quit James Bond. That's one of the reasons why we've chosen to play songs today that are tunes we've enjoyed in the last 2 years. They've been released in that time. We've played them on the show in the past, all stuff that we've enjoyed. And then next week we will do something different. Not entirely sure yet. I was wondering, shall we, I was thinking we could do just favourite tunes that we've ever enjoyed.
Yeah.
Make it kind of a real party atmosphere. Pretty much like the end of term. I'll probably wear a white shirt. You can all sign it.
Can I bring in Buckaroo?
You can bring in Buckaroo, exactly.
Can I was a little game of hangman on the blackboard on the corner there?
Yeah, absolutely. And you can have a belated Spanish vocab test, as I did on the very last day of term, which was deeply frustrating. Everyone else is running amok, going, off their heads on drinking booze and drugs.
Drink and booze.
Imagine that heady combination. And there I was, sat there waiting for a Spanish vocab test, and then I had to go in there, and I was so bad at Spanish. I was a fool. I shouldn't have done Spanish, I'll be honest with you. I never told anyone this, but I got good grades in GCSE in sort of French earlier, but I was copying off Neil Tomlins. So why did I think, when they offered me, do you want to do Spanish or art? I thought, yeah, I'll do Spanish. So good am I at French. Wait, a year in, I realised, hang on a minute, I don't know any French, do I? And, terrible result in Spanish. D, got a D in Spanish. She was giving me the old, you had to do your Spanish vocabulary to speak sentences back to her, and she was recording it for the adjudicators, and she was whispering the answers. Sometimes she would stop the tape, tell me the answer, put the tape back on. I still got it wrong. I deserved that D. I really did deserve that D. But anyway, so that's very much what next week's show will be like. Maybe we should get, should we make it, we could open it up, maybe make it kind of request show. We've never done a request show, have we?
Well,
is that a good thing or a bad thing?
We generally shun our listeners. We don't really take much interest in them, but maybe a few of them like some good songs.
Absolutely. I feel like we should invite some kind of correspondence with us on today's show. Maybe the happy memories they've had over the last 2 years whilst listening to the show. Probably best to have happy memories from when they weren't listening to the show. I have no idea. That's far too broad a subject matter.
Yeah,
that's just sort of get in touch.
Maybe we'll try and pin something down over the next.
Yeah, we'll try to figure something out. But as I say, penultimate show this week, and then the final one next. I'm very pleased as well that it's not, it's not going to be a grim show. I don't want you to think that it's going to be sort of melancholy, lots of depressing, sort of poetry and things like that. It's not a funeral. Okay, it's a celebration. It's a wonderful wake, and I'm very pleased as well that Cassia Tone for the Painfully Alone, who is a band that I've enjoyed over the last couple of years, played a couple of the tunes in the past. They very kindly come into the hub today. They're going to play for us later, and also we'll be talking to close personal friend and showbiz pal Simon Pegg. Will be on the phone as well, talking to us later. Obviously, his forthcoming film Star Trek, in which I believe he plays Scotty. We'll be talking to him a bit later as well. So yes, plenty to enjoy on this show. It's a mixture of sadness and joy. Harry, let's have a musical choice from the last 2 years from yourself.
Yeah, this was a difficult one. For me, there were 3 big albums last couple of years. The BC Camplight album, which I thrashed to death in 07. The Night Marches album from last year. I've only played one track, I think, but I've worn the t-shirt almost every week into the studio. And the other one was by King Khan and the Shrines, called What Is. And this is a tune about not having a job in the summer to Holly, whose birthday is today. This is Welfare Bread.
Happy birthday, H. Harry's musical choice, what was it, Harry?
That was Welfare Bread by King Khan and the Shrines.
Thank you very much indeed. So yes, our penultimate show here on the Steve Show, and I love the fact we announced that information, and the first text that comes in just says, I'm glad you're leaving.
Yeah.
I love the fact that he's sat there and he goes, I hate this show, I hate this, I don't know why I'm listening to it again. Every week I listen to it and I hate it. He's leaving. Great. Text. There you are, but God bless you, thank you so much. I feel like we should maybe solicit people's commiserations, and remember when Princess Diana died and the Sun for about a week was just filled with poems, letters of happy memories that they shared, drawings, paintings. That's very much what I would like to invite the listeners to contribute today. Doesn't even have to be necessarily about the show, just something that you might leave, if there was a kind of if we were having flowers left outside the station, wreaths and the like.
My brother was fortunate enough to see the Queen Mother's Book of Condolence after she passed away, and his favourite entry was someone who'd just written, Dear Queen Mother, you are history.
I always remember. Do you remember when the Queen Mother did die? And she was sort of lying in state for a while. People could visit. I don't forget where it was that she was.
Yes, the chapel of somewhere. Yeah,
And remember there were giant queues that stretched for miles. And I remember thinking at the time, is there a way of doing it tastefully and with dignity, but sort of putting her on some kind of hostess trolley and just wheeling her past the crowds? Because then you could get the whole thing done in like 5 to 7 minutes, couldn't you? But again, once again, protocol, health and safety, the rules, the establishment will allow it. But yes, imagine that there's people are gathering outside now as we speak, outside the Six Music station. People are laying wreaths, flowers. There's film crews. What would you leave there? Just to get in touch with us. You can give us perhaps a poem, maybe just a simple note thanking us for the good times.
No dirty protests.
No filthy protests, please. Playing this for one of the last times.
Text us on 64046 or email stephen.sixmusic@bbc.co.uk.
I'm glad you're leaving! One of the biggest thrills I had in the last 2 years of doing the show was meeting a couple of my musical heroes. Amy Mann, of course, you know I adore, and also Billy Bragg. We met him first down in Glastonbury. It was an absolute treat to see him, and then he came in again and did a session for us. And I adore Billy Bragg. I truly think he is one of the world's most special people. And listen, that's a very small list, okay? You guys are on it, obviously. But by sheer chance, I bumped into Billy Bragg on the street yesterday. And I was walking down and he was just there, and I saw him. Hello, Steve, yeah. And I was saying to Samir that he just, I said, what are you up to, Billy? He went, yeah, I'm just trying to remember the words to a Spanish Civil War protest song, because I'm performing tonight, and I want to play it in honour of Jack Jones, of course, the Union leader who's died, but also was, of course, fought in the Spanish Civil War. And it's just the fact that who else is wandering along trying to think, who even knows any Spanish Civil War songs? But, yeah, he's off to buy I'm off to buy a microphone, Steve. Well, you've got people to do that, surely. No, do it myself, yeah. I might see a nice guitar and buy that. See ya! And off he went. And I thought, yes, what's lovely about Billy, he genuinely keeps it real. Anyway, Billy performed, I guess it must have been where he was off to yesterday, but he was performing as part of the Camden Crawl, and last night they recorded for Six Music one of Billy's performances for Steve Lamac's Six Music programme. It was Steve Lamac's Six Music Night. He hosted a special night, did he? And anyway, so we've got an exclusive version of Billy live doing Greetings to the New Brunette. Let me just press the right button. Oh, I'm glad I'm leaving. Recorded last night as part of Steve Lamac's Six Music Night at the Dublin Castle during the Camden Crawl. That is, of course, Billy Bragg and Greetings to the New Brunette.
BBC Six Music. On digital, online, BBC Six Music.
One of the best session guests we had in the last 2 years, Laura Marling, and trained from her fantastic debut album, Alas I Cannot Swim. That's Ghosts, of course. There's a gentleman now on the phone who I wanted to have on the show for the last 2 years, and he's been unavailable or disinterested, but thankfully we've managed to corner him before the show packs it in next week. It's the wonderful Simon Pegg. Simon, hello.
Hello, mate. How you going?
Very pleased to have you on the phone. I was thinking the other day about what I would take on a desert island if I was ever on, desert island discs, and I would have a picture of Eric Morecambe, because it gives me such joy whenever I see Eric Morecambe's face. But second only to that, I think it's probably the Pegster, Simon Pegg. Whenever I think of Pegster, whenever I see his face, it always gives me joy. I hope that's a compliment.
Likewise, I'd say.
Thank you.
You always put a smile on my face whenever I see you.
Thank you very much indeed. Yes, I don't know, I mean, is that good? Is that going to sort of hamper our serious, dramatic work that we will almost certainly move towards as our careers?
I hope it just smooths the way, in a way. I mean, I'd like to think I'd pop round to your trailer and you'd have a little picture of me on the side and a friend of mine. Similarly, there'd be a small framed effigy of you.
I'd have perhaps a small shrine. I'm not going to BS you.
Candles and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's lovely to talk to you, and obviously very excited as well because you'll be in Star Trek very soon, which I think comes out sort of early May. Is that right?
That's right. It comes out on May the 8th. And we had the premiere on Monday, and they've done a sort of big world tour of premieres, and it's been a roller coaster.
Have the Trekkers responded favourably? Because I imagine they are a tough crowd to please.
They have, actually. I mean, as far as I know, the screenings have gone down a storm, and they did the first one in Austin, in the very heart of the the nexus of geek culture, and they were going to screen the Wrath of Khan, which is obviously the sort of the Trekkers' favourite, and then did a rope-a-dope and put on the new one, and so it was the real hardcore that saw it and responded to it really well, and they should do. It's a great film. I'm so proud of it. It's real good old-fashioned Star Trek.
So are you and your sort of colleagues in it, are you sort of doing impressions of the old cast? Are you informed by the old cast, or is it just the same characters but sort of reimagined?
I think we had to. Well, we kind of tried not to do that, but just tried to approach the characters like the original actors did, and rather than do like Chris Pine, who plays Kirk, was watching a lot of Star Trek to begin with, and then figured he was actually just trying to figure out how to impersonate William Shatner, which is the wrong thing to do. We had to play the characters. So I managed to get hold of James Doohan, who played the original Scotty, get hold of his son, and we hooked up and had a chat about his dad, and just so I could feel a bit, I wanted them to know that I wasn't going to make fun or anything like that. And then I just...
A Scotchman.
A Scotch? Well,
I believe they like to be known.
No, my wife is Scottish. I think J.J. Abrams, who directs the film, we'd worked together before, and he kind of I was the only European he knew. And,
right. That's good.
Fortunately, I was in the country just underneath Scotland, so...
Yes. Are you sat in some kind of English country garden, or is that just a sound effects tape you have on?
Yeah, I really am. I'm sat in the garden of my sister's house.
Oh, that's wonderful, because it's almost too idyllic, the sounds of the birds chirping there. Is it that pleasant outside, or are you actually in South Africa?
Absolutely lovely. It's a really sunny day. My dog is playing on the lawn. The birds are tweeting. It's quite lovely.
When you say the birds are tweeting, they're not on Twitter.
They're not on Twitter.
They're not, right, sure.
That's on fence making a sound.
Sure. That was a pretty bang-up-to-date reference, come on.
That was really good, actually.
I'm down with it, aren't I? Did you... Now, is it right... Am I right in saying that in a episode of Spaced, didn't you sort of slam Star Trek movies, or at least every other Star Trek movie?
I did. I said the odd-numbered ones were an expletive that meant bad. And,
yes.
And oddly, this is Star Trek 11, technically. So,
right.
So I really shot myself in the foot there.
Yeah.
But it's not. That was at a time when I think we'd just probably got number 7 or 6 maybe, and that rule was holding up. It's clearly not true now.
Because Khan was absolute stormer.
Khan was great. One's talky, but it's a contentious one because there are big fans of the first one. But the first one was quite, sort of gloomy and over talky. But Khan was a good old adventure, and then Search for Spock, maybe, a bit of a pale imitation. Then 4 came along, and everyone loved 4.
Is that the one with the whales?
Yeah, that's like the non-Star Trek fans' favourite Star Trek film.
Yep.
5 was a bit of a dud. 6 was pretty cool. 7... So, up until that point, it was pretty much abiding by that rule.
Would you classify yourself as a nerd?
Absolutely, yeah, I am a nerd.
Because you don't look, so you can almost pass for handsome. You don't, you know what I mean? You don't look like an obvious
You're
nerd.
worse than Ross.
But it seems like you can walk amongst regular people undetected.
I'm a spy in the cab. I'm like, we do have to have agents out there among normal people.
Absolutely, exactly.
I'm one of them.
I cannot pass for anything but nerd. I'm sort of cursed with nerddom. But yeah, you're great. You can sneak around. It's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah, but the minute one sees me and starts screaming, I'm in trouble. Do you know what I mean? I could be cornered in the pub and beaten to death if they knew what I really was.
Exactly. So what will Peg fans be enjoying post-Star Trek?
I'm just going off to shoot a movie with Nick Frost next week, which is called Call, and that's our sort of next one that we've written together. It's not the next joint from myself and Edgar, because Edgar's off doing something else, and we'll get back together and write, I guess, what will be the 3rd film in the series that Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz started. But Nick and I have done a little something together, which we're doing in the meantime. That was a long sentence.
It was.
I'm sorry.
I can't remember what the answer was.
Or the question.
Yeah, but I appreciate it. It's
a lot of the birds have stopped tweeting and are just staring at it.
Well, they are actually now twittering that information.
They're going on Facebook.
It's straight on the movie blogs. Now then, what was I going to say to you? Oh yes, of course. Now the show, my show, radio show, is finishing now. I'm very much